control this earth forever under the laws of the supreme being, Yahweh.
Neither shall his face now wax pale.
Now, when the white man first came to America, the Indians looked at him and called him a pale face. The Bible says that the children of Jacob shall never look like pale faces. That's literally what that statement is saying. Read this statement again in case people at home don't understand.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob, Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale.
Now, to prove that, we have to do a couple of things. When you check out the history of the Israelites, or the Jews, they were enslaved in Egypt under Pharaoh Ramses II and the dynasty of the different Israelite pharaohs that controlled them for 430 years. Before the pharaohs came into Egypt, they had Hyksos living there, which are Egyptians going under another name called Hyksos. And that was the group that had to be taught by Joseph. Joseph had to teach that group when he first went into Egypt with the 70 souls, Joseph and the 70 souls. Now here's a book. You would hold the microphone. The name of this book is a very rare book. When this book was first printed, it was printed in German, all German. Because the Germans, this guy's name is Werner Keller. They put this book together called The Bible as History. Very rare book, and it's expensive, and it's very difficult to obtain this book. Very difficult. Now on the inside of this book they have photographs of Semitic slaves. In other words, Jewish slaves working in the fields for the pharaohs, for the Egyptians. Now these slaves were black. Pharaoh's black, the Jews are black, the overseers that are watching over these people are black. If the cameraman get a close-up, every one of them are black. Now they're living down in the southern part of Egypt, being enslaved down there. How are they going to leave Egypt and go to Europe and turn white? It doesn't make sense. It can never happen. Black people have migrated from Europe, have migrated from the Middle East and went to Europe, and they lived there for centuries and thousands of years, and they never turned white. White people look the way they look as a result of leprosy. Now, further over here, there's some more photographs. Look how black they are. Those are Hebrew slaves bowing down and paying tribute to the pharaohs of Egypt. Paying tribute to Pharaoh. You see that? Jet black. Now get a white man out of that. Because you whites, you like to lie in history and whitewashing. You like to say, oh, the ancient Jews were black, but they moved up north and they turned white.
They even got the scriptures quoted.
Right, they even have the scriptures quoted in this book concerning the Israelites and concerning their history and what they would go through and what they would do. Now I want to show another book. The name of this book is called, take a good look at this, History of Ancient Israel. And on the front of that, this is a photograph of Moses and Aaron leading the children of Israel out of Egypt. Moses and Aaron both being black, and the people that standing behind them, the children of Israel, all black. So explain to me, Mr. White Man, how these people can move north and turn white.
That is crystal clear.
There's
a whole lot of while, whole lot still
yeah.
a while, whole lot still a while. Let me pan Moses and Aaron.
Yeah. Both of them are black.
The Israelites.
And look at them all black.
They're all black.
Everybody in the crowd is black.
And look at their feet.
And everything about them. They're black. They're black people. So how do you come up with this story of they were black, but they moved up north and turned white? That has no scientific basis to it at all.
Wait a minute. That don't look like Charlton Heston.
No. These are clearly the image of black people. Now, when I go back in this other book I have here, and keep in mind, these are white men putting these books together. White men have gone and digging up the records of ancient Israel and showing that the ancient Israelites were black. Like when you go in here, they've got the little statues of the Hebrew slaves with a taskmaster over them. They're working in grain, they're working in corn, they're working in wheat, They're working in a whole lot of different things that they worked in. Like for example, let me show you here on page 102, or page 101 of this book called The Bible is History, photograph over here that I'm pointing to. The cameraman gets a close-up of that. What do you see? Those are Hebrew slaves, Negroes, so you can understand, Jews, working for the Pharaoh. And the little statues are black. Now that's a meat house that they're working in, where they're in there to see to it that some of the meat is getting baked in there by the sun and so on and so forth. And they also worked in grain mills. They worked in salt. Now they're working in a bakery right here. They're baking bread. They're right there. They're making dough. Now the white man tried to deface. See how the devil works? He defaced the very image of the statues there, tried to make that one white. He got mad because they were black, and he tried to make that face white.
Could I point?
Yeah. Right here, this guy here. He defaced them. Now, what was the purpose of that? Because when you look inside the house, you see all black people in there. How you going to deface that one guy and the rest of them standing there right around him is black? See? Now read Job 9:24 while I'm showing this picture.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
See how he covered the face of this black image here? He covered the faces of the judges thereof. Well, we're the judges of the world.
The black off.
Right, he tried to wipe it off. Read.
If not, where and who is he?
So if the white man is not the devil for covering up the truth about the color of the real Jews, then where and who is the devil? Because he's the only guy that runs around on the earth trying to deface everything and trying to make himself into the very image of the same people that he's covering up. Defacing the image of great black people that worked in Egypt and built up treasure cities for Pharaoh, like for Ramses II, like Pathros and other cities that they built down there in Memphis and other places in Egypt that they built. They built up all of Egypt. Egypt didn't become great until the Jews were in Egypt. And then Moses was the one that led them out. Now Moses was raised up as an Egyptian. And I'm going to prove that in order for Moses to be raised up as an Egyptian, Moses would have to be black. Now in this book they captured a photograph of the statues of the Pharaoh Ramses II, his army, the Pharaoh's army, and all of them are black.
Is that the same book?
Same book called The Bible is History. Now that's the Egyptian army.
At the bottom?
At the bottom there. That's an Egyptian army during the times of Pharaoh Ramses II that had Israel and Egypt as slaves. Every one of the guys in there is black. Look at it. So how can Moses be raised up as an Egyptian if he didn't look like these guys? These are all black men.
That is crystal clear.
And what does that prove? That the Egyptians were a black Hamitic African nation that was enslaving another black Shemitic Hebrew nation for 400 years. 430 years, the Hebrews, a black nation, were slaves under this black nation, the Egyptians.